Hey there, this is Dan and this is the NDIS Circle. Today we're going to be speaking about support coordination in the NDIS. What is support coordination? What are the different levels of support coordination? Do you have it in your NDIS plan? How do you get it in your plan? What's the purpose of it? And I hope by the end of the podcast you'll have a bit more understanding of support coordination, which is what I do in my own business, Circle SC, and whether you benefit from having a support coordinator on your team if you don't already. I guess support coordination as a general sort of overarching theme, there's sort of two things that we really focus on. The first one being safeguarding the participant, so planning for risks, identifying risks, mitigating risks. And the second one is capacity building. So how can we support the NDIS participant or their family to feel more empowered and take more control over their supports and to build their independence and confidence for the future. So potentially they'll be less reliant on us as support coordinators, but also just funded supports in general. So support coordination, I think, benefits anyone that could use some help understanding and accessing and using their NDIS plan. So unfortunately, it's not funded for everyone. I think around between 40 and 50% of NDIS participants are funded for support coordination. And support coordination looks different for everyone, but it's based on those sort of two core principles of safeguarding and capacity building. Getting an NDIS plan is only really half the story. The magic of good quality support coordination is turning those numbers on a page, that funding in those different budgets, into actual real life changes that can positively affect you as an NDIS participant and your family, and even the community as a larger whole as well. A good support coordinator really gets to know you. They get to know your goals. They'll ask you what your vision is for your life, if you've ever thought about that, and help you sort of to crystallize that. And then they go about making it happen with you. A good support coordinator has experience in the sector, and as a result they'll have a network of sort of skilled, experienced contacts and other providers. So after you receive your plan, your support coordinator should support you to use that plan and engage and find high quality service providers that are good fit for you, have values alignment with you, that are local to you, and that meet your individual needs and will help you ultimately to achieve ambitious goals. There's two main types of support coordination, actually three types, but I'm just going to talk about two types at the moment. So there's level 2 and level 3. So level 2 is coordination of supports. So that's sort of your more quote unquote standard level of support coordination. So they would coordinate all your supports, so therapy supports, core supports, which is support workers, equipment supports, your whole NDIS plan to increase your capacity to maintain relationships, develop skills, live more independently, and build friendships and participate more in the community. And they aim to build your confidence to sort of self-direct your own life. So they have the same principles of capacity building and safeguarding. Your NDIS plan capacity building budget will show if you've been allocated funding for support coordination, and it will usually describe what level of support coordination is funded. Level 3 specialist support coordination is, as the name suggests, it's a more specialized, intensive level of support, and usually that's funded by the NDIA. They make the decision on what level to fund and whether to fund support coordination at all. They'll fund that if the participant and the family situation is more complex, or if the participant's disability needs are really high support needs, really complex disability needs. So a specialist support coordinator will do all those things I mentioned that a level 2 support coordinator will do, but they'll also really assist the person to overcome barriers and address challenges and mitigate risks and plan for risks and ensure a consistent provision and delivery of all supports, often in a complex, sort of unstable, rapidly changing environment and situation. So my business is Circle SC. We do specialist support coordination. We really focus on that. That's sort of our niche. We say our tagline is supporting people with complex support needs to overcome barriers to live a great life. So that's a decent summary of the aim of a specialist support coordinator. So you know a little bit more about what a support coordinator does, but how do you now find one? So there are registered support coordinators and unregistered support coordinators, just like all NDIS providers. If you want to find an NDIS registered support coordinator, So that means that the support coordinator and their company has been through independent audit, and then the NDIS Quality and Safeguards Commission have done a final suitability assessment and said, yep, this provider has been assessed as compliant and meeting the NDIS practice standards. Then you can use the NDIS Provider Finder tool, which is on the NDIA website. You can select your local area, you just chuck in your postcode, and you can put within 5Ks, 10Ks, 25Ks and 50Ks, depending on how local you want your provider to be. And then you can select the support category, so you click on support coordination and select if you want them to be an active provider, which basically means that they're active and trading, so you do want to select that. And you can also select if you want them to have a head office in the area as well, or if you're happy for them to have a head office somewhere else and then travel to your local area. If you plan or self-manage your support coordination funding, you can also access a non-registered support coordinator. So generally, specialist support coordination will be a combination of either NDIA managed, which means you can only use NDIS registered providers, or plan managed, which means that you can use registered and unregistered providers, and the funding for it is managed by a plan management provider. I've actually only ever, in my business, we support 38 people now and families, and none of the people that we support, primarily because we focus on specialist support coordination, none of the people that we support actually self-manage their support coordination funding. It's all NDIA managed or plan managed, and perhaps one of the reasons for that is that it's more specialized, intensive, high-risk support, and the NDIA generally would prefer to see that as NDIA managed or plan managed. So it's just a little bit more sort of oversight there, and they can make sure that someone that's skilled and experienced and qualified is providing that support. Because a specialist support coordinator either needs very deep experience in the sector, in the disability sector, supporting people with disabilities, or they need relevant qualifications, typically in allied health disciplines. So, a qualified OT, occupational therapist, speech pathologist, physio, social worker. There's some nurses that are specialist support coordinators, sort of having relevant health and allied health disability degrees for that qualification. If you decide you want to go for an unregistered provider, I guess your sort of options for finding them are online and through word of mouth and advertising, social media, and also recommendations from through friends and peer networks as well who've had good experiences, and that can give you confidence that you're going to get a quality support coordinator. So there's amazing support coordinators out there, but there's high variability across the sector for support coordination. I think the DIA, Disability Intermediaries Australia, have done some fantastic work in sort of outlining the best practices for support coordinators. So I think that's good to read as a support coordinator and sort of try and live up to that best practice. But there is really high variability between the different standards and quality of support coordination. So it's important to get a good one because they're sort of your main point of contact and your main person for supporting you to navigate through the complex NDIS. We believe, and this has been reflected in the recent NDIS independent review, that it's important for support coordinators to be external to your other supports and to be independent and as impartial as possible. So that means that you can be confident there's no conflict of interest or perceived conflict of interest at play, and they have your best interests at heart. So that means you have a dedicated support coordinator. They don't provide support work to you. They don't provide therapy to you. They're not receiving kickbacks from other providers for doing these cross referrals. There's nothing like that going on. They're in your corner, and their job is to ensure that you have a wide range of choices, you make your own decisions, and you're feeling empowered to use your NDIS funding and get the most out of it. And that's reflected in the recent recommendation for the NDIS independent review. So over the next 5 years, I think DIA have said that this could potentially be implemented in 3 years and onwards time, that support coordinators, it will now become mandatory rather than just sort of recommended. It will become mandatory that support coordinators are only providing support coordination, so they can be independent and there's no perceived conflict of interest there. So yeah, my business, Circle SC, we're a support coordination provider. We're completely independent and we're NDIS registered, and we receive no kickbacks or any sort of benefits from referring the people that we support to particular providers. And I guess our job as specialist support coordinators is first and foremost to form a relationship with you and get to know you, help you to understand and use the NDIS plan, navigate the system, because it can be really complex at times, connect you with high quality providers, so giving you choices that you can make, but also utilizing our network of skilled and experienced contacts and providers as well to leverage that. Helping to build confidence and skills of NDIS participants and families that we support, setting and achieving goals. So working with you as the NDIS participant to figure out, what's your vision for your life? What are your goals for your life? What is your future? What do you want your future to look like? Sometimes people haven't actually thought about that, and it's something good to look forward to and crystallize in your mind, so you know the direction that you want to go, and you can communicate that to your service providers so they're helping you to get there. And another key role of being a support coordinator is guiding and supporting you as the NDIS participant and family through that often very stressful plan reassessment process. Gathering reports from all the providers, doing our own really detailed plan reassessment report, and making recommendations for the following plan, whether that be for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. Outlining any challenges or barriers experienced throughout the plan, any risks, sort of what the informal support networks look like around the person, and what the more formal supports are in terms of mainstream services like health, like GP, psychiatrists, and also all the different NDIS service providers and all their different roles and parts that they play. We're a pretty small business. We only support less than 40 participants now. We've got 4 employees, 1 marketing admin, Wiz L, and myself, Tess and Emma, as specialist support coordinators. And our sort of philosophy is around providing person-centered specialist support coordination to people in more complex circumstances to help people to overcome the barriers and the challenges that they're facing and live a great life ultimately. Tess, Emma and I all have relevant degrees and experience working in disability services, and if you're interested in connecting with us and discussing what support coordination is, and if you'd like to be linked in with a support coordinator, feel free to get in contact with us through the website, which is www.circlesc.com.au. There's a form on there that you can fill in, and there's also an email, support@circlesc.com.au, and a number on the website as well that you can call to get in contact with us. So hope that's been helpful in terms of providing some more information about support coordination and the benefits that it might offer. Not everyone gets it in their plan, so if you don't have support coordination and you think that you would really benefit from it and having someone there to help you to navigate the NDIS, it might be something that you can revisit at your next planning meeting with the NDIA. Thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you next week. Thanks, bye.